relationships. The last song the chorus just sang, we've only just begun, is about relationships, and ironically enough, our first scene is about the beginning of young love, the beginning of a relationship. One of the hardest jobs for an actor to accomplish is to create a meaningful, real relationship which is not really happening in his life. John, we getting lights on stage? It's like magic, isn't it? In this first scene, two young people meet in an ice cream parlor. They really like each other. But as many of you know, it's easy to feel the feeling, but difficult to verbalize it. This scene is from a play called Our Town. It's about young people, all people, growing up in a New England town in Grover's Corners. It takes place in the early 20th century. Here they are, Adam Sanford and Alma Carreon in Thornton Wilder's Our Town.
Strawberry ice cream sodas are so expensive.
No, don't you think of that, Emily? We're celebrating our election. And then you know what else I'm celebrating?
No?
I'm celebrating because I've got a friend who tells me all the things that ought to be told me.
George, please don't think of that. I don't know why you said it. It's not true. It's just sometimes maybe...
No, Emily, you stick to it. I'm glad you spoke to me that way. But you'll see, I'm going to change so quick, you better get it changing. And Emily, I want to ask you a favor.
What?
Emily, if I do go into State Agricultural College next year, would you write me a letter once in a while?
You know, it seems that being away for 3 years, you might get out of touch with things. I don't know, maybe letters from Grover's Corners wouldn't be so interesting after a while. Grover's Corners isn't a very important place when you think of all of New Hampshire. But I think it's a very nice town.
The day wouldn't come and I wouldn't want to know everything about our town. I know that's true. Emily, I just want you to know
I
that
promise I'll make my letters more interesting.
You know, Emily, whenever I meet a farmer, I ask him if he thinks it's important to go to agricultural college to be a good farmer.
Why, George?
Yeah, and some of them say it's even a waste of time. You can learn all that stuff in the pamphlets that the government sends out. And Uncle Luke's getting old. He's about ready for me to start taking over the farm tomorrow. If I could.
My.
And like you said, being gone all that time, meeting all those new people, gosh, if anything like that can happen, I don't want to go. New people probably aren't any very noble. I'll bet they almost never are. Emily, you're as good a friend as I've got. I don't need to go to other towns and meet other people.
But George, maybe it's very important for you to learn all about cattle judging and soils and all those things. Of course, I wouldn't know.
Emily, I'm going to make up my mind right now. I won't go. I'll tell Pa about it tonight.
George, you have a whole year away. You don't have to decide right now.
Emily, I'm glad you told me about that flaw in my character. What you said was right. But there was one thing wrong with it. That's when you said that I wasn't noticing people. And like you, for instance. And you said that you were watching me when I did everything. Well, I was doing almost the same thing to you almost all the time. Why, sure, I always thought it was fun. I always thought about, whenever you were at a game, I always knew where you were and who you were with. try to walk home with you, but something always got in the way. Like yesterday, I waited over by the wall for you, and you walked home with Mrs. Corcoran.
George Webb's awful funny. How could I have known that? I mean, all this time I thought that maybe...
Emily, I'm going to tell you why I'm not going to go to agricultural college. I think that if you found someone that you're very fond of, someone who's fond of you, well, fond of your character, well, I think that's just as important as college is. Even more so. That's what I think.
I think it's awfully important too.
Emily?
Yes, George?
Emily, if I do make a big change, and I do improve, well, would you be... Well, could you be...
I am now. Always will.
So I guess this is a pretty important conversation we've been having, huh? Wait a minute, I'll walk you home.